What's up, everybody? My name is Brian Evans, and I help actors to create their own material so they have a little bit more control over their acting careers. Today, I want to talk to you about how to achieve your goals as an actor, okay? All of us have goals when we get started with acting, but I don't think actors focus on that very much, or not enough anyway. I want to talk to you a little bit today about how to make a plan that's really going to help you to arrive where you're going instead of just going out on audition after audition, hoping and praying that something comes through to get you where you'd like to be. I want to talk to you about a little bit of a plan today. So let's get started. The number one thing you can do to get to your goals, it sounds simple, but know what those goals are. Like I mentioned, so many actors go out and they just start working, hoping that a role is going to show up that's going to get them famous, get them into a position where they can cherry pick roles for the rest of their lives, but they have no idea how to get there other than to just look for whatever auditions happen to show up and hope they're a match for one of them. That is not a plan. And to be honest with you, most actors do not have a plan. And that is a reason why a lot of actors don't achieve the goals that they've set out for themselves when they first start in the business. Okay? And it's not that difficult to create a plan if we just take a few steps. Okay? So number two, you need to know where you are in relationship to those goals. Once you've figured out what those goals are, how far away are you from those goals? Are you at the very beginning of your career where you're just going out to your first few auditions? Have you started to get work and you've done a few pop-ups and guest stars on different shows that you might, be proud of? Are you just doing extra work, hoping to kind of establish some contacts? Are you further along and do you have a situation going on where you're recurring on something right now? You need to know where you are in relationship to your goals. So once you establish what your goals are, then you have to say, well, where am I in relationship to those goals? That's going to help you to work out a roadmap to get there. It's like a plane just heading out and saying, we're going to go due west, but there's no destination in mind that's specific, and therefore you cannot give specific directions on how to get there. Once we know where we're going and we know where we are, the best method that I've seen that works is to start to reverse engineer your plan or your roadmap to get there. Let's say you decided you want to be a regular on a series that runs for a long time. What's the step before being a series regular? Well, maybe it's you want to get some guest stars going, okay? And so what's the step before guest stars? Do you need to do some things independently, like some independent films? Because that's in reach, and you want to have some material that really impresses those casting directors that are casting those guest stars for those shows. So start working backwards. Most actors know where the steps are that get you from one level to the next, but they're not concentrating on them. They're hoping they're going to happen on their own automatically if you just go out to enough auditions. I don't subscribe to that. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't audition as much as you possibly can. I never would discourage you from doing that, but you do need to make a plan for the times when those auditions are not happening or not going your way. So reverse engineer the steps from where you want to be all the way back to where you are. And I would say even start to write them down and start to look at those, because it'll at least put these things in the forefront of your mind. And when opportunities show up, if you know what you're looking for, boom, you'll be able to jump on those a little bit quicker because you've already in your mind and on paper established that that's part of your plan. Okay? So reverse engineer from where you want to be back to where you are right now. The next thing I want to discuss is that most actors out there now, they need a bit of a mindset shift. I'm going to make the recommendation that you guys stop thinking like employees. And this is because most actors, because the business is set up a certain way, and so from the time you've been in school, the ideal situation or the goal that they give you is get a job. Now, you need to rethink that very statement. In my opinion, you need to start looking at what you do as a service. You're not going out looking for a job. Your acting services are being sold to the industry, okay? Because if you look at it from that entrepreneurial perspective, then you start to see things in a way that entrepreneurs see things. Now, an entrepreneur doesn't go out looking for a job. And I'm not telling you not to look for a job. I'm just saying to employ this thinking a little bit because it can help you in addition to what you're already doing, okay? I'm saying that an entrepreneur doesn't look for a job. An entrepreneur looks for a place to sell his services or his product. And if you're a great actor, if you really have talent, and even, most actors have abilities and special and unique skills that they do better than anybody else. And if you've established those, I've talked about this in other videos, then you know what they are, and you have to find a way, like any entrepreneur, to advertise those skills. Because there is no entrepreneur that can make a living doing what he does without advertising that product or service. Now, the problem with the current system with actors is that if you're depending on someone else to give you the opportunity to show the world what you can do, it is nearly impossible to do that consistently. And where would any business be if it didn't consistently let the people who they like to sell to know that they had something for sale? They would be out of business. And honestly, that's where a lot of actors are. They're out of business. They don't work for a year or 2 years or 3 years. It's a very, very small percentage of actors that are working enough to pay all their bills and pay for their living through their acting. And that in part is because they're operating in a place where they don't have control over how often they are able to present their skills to the world. Get the employee thing out of your head and start thinking like an entrepreneur and start advertising. And advertising, I mean, your advertisement is the work that you do. And if you can't depend on the world to give you a job, which you cannot, you have to create. One of my favorite lines from the rapper Jay-Z is, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman," meaning that he's not out there as a businessman as his identity. He himself is a business. We as actors are a business. We are in the business of selling our services to the industry. It's a super important distinction because it informs how you behave in the business. And entrepreneurs are always in action, always advertising, always alerting people to what they do and what they're selling. If you do that, you increase your chances of success exponentially, okay? And you'll be building an audience the whole time, which is going to make you more and more valuable to those people looking to give you a job through those auditions. Start building your audience by understanding that you're a business selling your acting services. The next thing I would suggest for you all is to learn to write. I know you're an actor. A lot of actors say, well, can't I just act? You could, but I'll tell you what, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage against everyone else who is doing these extra things like writing. Writing is an awesome thing for actors because it creates the opportunity for you to create material that is tailor-made for you and you alone. It gives you the opportunity to create work that focuses on and highlights your specific and unique skills as actors, okay? You don't have to wait around for someone to give you an opportunity, especially because the people who are offering those opportunities, they don't know what you're best at. They don't know what your particular and specific skills are. You do. And if you don't, you better start working on that list right away. But you need to know what your skills are and then build work that shows the best of those skills. And why is that important? When you create work that shows what you're great at, you're obviously going to give some of your best performances. It's going to hit the areas where you are a master, where you do the thing you're doing better than anybody else. And you have control over it, so you can do it as often as possible. You can become prolific. You can have a ton of material to choose from. You can have access to the footage whenever you choose. You never have to sit around waiting for anybody to give you the footage, which can take months or years sometimes. So start thinking a little bit differently. This is a roadmap that doesn't depend on the industry liking you. The bottom line is creating your own work gives you the power to direct your career the places you want it to go. You don't have to hope. You don't have to pray that something shows up. You don't have to do work that doesn't align with your values. You can if you choose to, but you don't have to. You'll be advertising your skills all the time to the world. You'll always have fresh material for your reel, and you can get this work out on a regular basis to those people who you know can help you to achieve your goals as an actor. If you're not creating, you're waiting. And that is never the position you want to be in. It's a position of weakness. You creating is a position of strength, and the industry will treat you the way you present yourself to it. Okay? So represent yourself, i.e. represent yourself to the industry the way you want to be seen, so that you're teaching them in each piece of material you put out. You're teaching them where you belong in the industry, what you're great at in the industry. You're teaching them how to treat you, how to make best use of the things you have to offer, because each of us has something specific and unique and special to offer. They're not going to know what it is unless you show them. I know you guys can do this. If you're a little bit nervous, if you don't know where to get started, check the description. I'll let you know how you can work with us if that's something you want to do. But it doesn't matter whether you do it with me or not. You go out there and get started creating. I think it's going to change the entire trajectory of your career. Okay? I love you guys. And I know you're saying, well, you don't know us, Brian. Are you saying that you love us? Look, I do know you. You're me 5 years ago, or 7 years ago, or 10 years ago. I know what it feels like to feel like you have no power. I know what it feels like to be burnt out running around to auditions and doing self-tapes and hoping for the best. Stop hoping and start creating.